When you talk about a candidate that defies the status quo, many names come to mind, including my next guest, Adam Kokesh. Adam is a Marine captain who offered to sacrifice his life for our freedoms, and he really believes in human freedom. Adam is now fighting the establishment in New Mexico in an effort to bring back the core principles of the Republican Party. Have you forgotten about these? The primacy of the individual, the indispensability of the free market to human prosperity, the right to a limited government, and the need for ironclad fidelity to the Constitution. Joining me now is Adam Kokesh, a Republican candidate for Congress in New Mexico's 3rd District and a veteran of the Iraq War. Adam, it's a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Hey, thank you for having me on, Judge. I got to say, though, I was not a captain. I was a sergeant when I was in Iraq, so you're not allowed to even call me sir because I used to work for a living.
See, I gave you a promotion, but we won't get into whether the grunts or the officers really do the work. How is your argument that I just tried to summarize, you can do it better than I, the primacy of the individual and the indispensability of the free market and fidelity to the Constitution, how is that argument resonating with Republican voters in New Mexico today?
Oh, it's absolutely resonating, but more importantly, we see that it's really resonating across the board here in New Mexico's 3rd District. When you're able to speak to the core American values that really bring people together, the idea of God-given inalienable rights, and you can show that your platform is consistent based on those values, you can really bring people together around a campaign, and that's what we're doing. And we're seeing, too, now, as the Republican Party is out of power, they're very much moving in this direction. They are shedding the influence of the neoconservatives and getting back to true conservative values, getting back to ideas of natural law and individual rights. And it's really great to see that because now the grassroots and the base of the Republican Party feels like they can be more active supporting candidates because they have people that really represent their values running for office.
All good news and good to hear. Good to my ears and good to the eyes and ears of the many people watching and listening to us now, Adam. How about the leadership of the Republican Party? Has it awakened yet to things like "you are so young" and this movement of freedom and natural rights and stay within the confines of the Constitution is a movement of youth, and youth could be the future of the Republican Party? Or are they saying to you, you know what, son, your time hasn't come yet, you just wait?
Well, I mean, this gets back to what you were talking about earlier about Ron Paul winning the straw poll at CPAC this year and hearing all of the old guard neoconservative party establishment pundits saying, oh, well, that's just because there's a lot of youth and a lot of students at CPAC. Incidentally, there were less students at CPAC this year than there normally are. But if that group of within the Republican Party is saying that trying to dismiss this, what does that say about the future of the conservative movement? It's as if they're trying to deny their own future. But the youth that's coming up and getting involved within the Republican Party, we are the future, and I think a lot of the smarter people within the establishment are realizing that, and they're seeing that, and they're coming around and seeing that not only do we represent the future of the Republican Party, if we're going to have one, but also that if you want to win elections in 2010, you got to represent those core American values that bring people together, and that's what this movement is about. That's what we have a chance to do. So, here in New Mexico, we have there is some conflict there. You can see that there are some people who can't let go of the neoconservative, big government kind of republicanism, which of course is a great contradiction. But they're coming around and they're seeing that if we want to win in 2010, we want to bring people together, we have to embrace a message more founded in the Constitution and individual rights.
Well, one of the things that makes you such an attractive candidate to those of us who love liberty is your position on war. That we shouldn't be fighting wars of convenience, that we should only fight defensive wars. And you're an ex-Marine, so when you forgive me, once a Marine, always a Marine. I know that. I know that. All right, you're still a Marine, but you fought in Iraq. You're an Iraq War veteran, so you know of what you speak. How does your message of war is the health of the state, and we shouldn't be putting young people in harm's way unless it's necessary to directly preserve our own liberty, how does that resonate with Republicans today?
Actually, it's resonating very well, and there's kind of a challenge when we saw an anti-war movement that was really more of an anti-Bush movement and was so dominated by liberals and Democrats that were co-opting that grassroots American sentiment against these wars because people were realizing that they were not in America's best interest on so many counts. And when you can present that from a veteran's perspective and say, no, there are real important conservative reasons to be against these wars as well. Patriotic Americans don't send U.S. soldiers to fight and die under the blue UN flag. Patriotic Americans do not send U.S. soldiers to fight and die in wars that are driven by corporate interests and that are unconstitutional. And when you can put it in those terms and you can show that the true non-interventionist platform is founded in core American values, conservative values, the values of liberty and individual rights, it really has appeal across the board. And we're seeing that here, and Republicans are very supportive of this, actually.
How's the campaign actually going?
Well, of course, you know, as candidates, we're all conditioned to say, "Oh, it's great," but really, we're having a blast here in New Mexico. The message is catching on. People are coming to this campaign and volunteering, and I hear people tell me, you know, someday my children and my grandchildren are going to ask me, what did I do? What did you do when America was in this predicament? What did you do in 2010 when freedom was in such a perilous state? And a lot of them are saying, well, you know, I don't know, but at least I can tell them that I worked for the Kokesh for Congress campaign, and I got involved, and I did something to bring back the American message of liberty to the American people and send someone to Washington that represents these values. And we just got some polling back, which was very exciting to see that this is a very winnable race for Republican, even in what is traditionally a strong Democratic district. We are in striking range. We are right where we need to be right now, and it's very exciting to see that we have a chance to get some help for Ron Paul on Capitol Hill and send someone who's going to represent New Mexicans here, who's going to fight for their interests and fight to return the power to the state of New Mexico and make sure that these core values that bring us together here, that I'm hearing from constituents all across the district, are represented. Unlike Ben Ray Lujan, the current representative who's voted with Nancy Pelosi 99% of the time.
Well, you'll certainly change that. Adam Kokesh running for the Republican nomination for Congress in the 3rd District in New Mexico and defending freedom like few others do. Wish you the best. Come visit us again on Freedom Watch.
Hoorah. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You can catch today's show on foxnews.com/freedomwatch and on Sirius 145 XM 168 or online at foxnewstalk.com at 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. From New York, defending freedom. Until the next time, stay free, America.